to hide. I know there's not, because I've seen what the case is built on. Let everyone see what true evil is.
It's finally going down. Candace Owens is officially calling out Erika Kirk, and this time she's not holding back. She just dropped shocking receipts claiming Erika might be tied to some kind of staged setup meant to boost TPU's chief of staff, Mikey McCoy, and position him as Charlie's chosen successor. Yeah, that same Mikey McCoy who was standing just a few feet away when Charlie was shot and didn't even flinch. He didn't turn around, didn't react. He just calmly walked off while talking on the phone like nothing happened. That's wild. While Turning Point insiders rushed to defend Erika and Mikey, none of them seem interested in actually seeking justice for Charlie. Not one. It's like they're protecting each other instead of asking the real questions, and right now it looks like Candace Owens might be the only one brave enough to chase the truth no matter who it exposes. Meanwhile, Erika's acting like life's just fine. She's been talking about her bright future, new projects, and all these exciting opportunities while the whole world is still asking what really happened to her husband. That timing feels off, and people are starting to notice. But here's where things take a darker turn.
Mikey McCoy, they don't like what they've seen about Rob McCoy.
Word is Erika's panicking because Candace keeps digging deeper and pulling receipts that could connect her and TPUSA to the mess surrounding Charlie's death. Now, the talk is that Erika's team is trying to silence Candace with legal threats, even pushing for a gag order to shut her down completely. Something's definitely not adding up here. Candace Owens is far from done. She's just getting warmed up. She's now dropped even more wild receipts that tie multiple Turning Point insiders to seriously suspicious activity. And it's not only about Erika Kirk or her so-called Romanian Angels charity. Candace is now naming names, claiming that TPUSA's COO, Tyler Bauer, was allegedly getting involved with young male interns and somehow linked to a shady orphanage project in Ukraine. That's a whole new level of disturbing. At this point, it's clear Candace has lost all patience with trying to be polite or diplomatic. She's done playing nice. She's publicly calling out Erika for parading around, promoting TPUSA's new leadership, while totally ignoring the one thing that matters most, justice for Charlie. Candace even said flat out that she understands why some people still believe Charlie might be alive, because based on Erika's behavior, you'd never guess this woman just lost her husband a few weeks ago. It's like she flipped a switch from widow to influencer overnight, doing interviews, promoting causes, smiling for the cameras, while people are still mourning the man she once called her soulmate. But Candace didn't stop there.
Is what I've come to believe. Courage is hope in action.
Oh no, she took it straight to her own show and looked directly into the camera, addressing Erika by name. She accused her of playing CEO girl boss at Turning Point instead of fighting for the truth. Candace said, "Where's the transparency? Where's the demand for answers? Where's the outrage?" She made it clear that Erika's calm acceptance of the official story doesn't sit right with her, or with anyone paying attention. Then came the Jesse Waters interview, the one that made everything explode online. Erika appeared totally at peace, even hinting that she's accepted the FBI's version of events and the identity of the alleged shooter. But Candace isn't buying it. She's questioning how Erika could move on so quickly and so easily when there are still massive holes in the timeline, evidence, and witness statements. Candace even dropped a heavy hint that Erika's silence might not be grief, it might be strategy. Because if Erika pushes for full transparency, it could expose TPUSA and their alleged role in whatever really went down on September 10th. And that's when Candace shifted focus back to the Turning Point crew, especially the man of the hour, Mikey McCoy.
Give assurance to people that Turning Point USA is continuing, and it is. I mean, we are so blessed to have more work than we even could.
Erika had praised him during her first public appearance after Charlie's death, calling him amazing. But Candace is asking the real question. What exactly was Amazing Mikey doing that night? Security footage shows Mikey standing just behind Charlie at the moment of the attack, and his reaction? Almost none. He barely moved, didn't duck, didn't even look shocked. While chaos broke out all around him, Mikey looked calm, too calm, like he already knew what was about to happen. That's the kind of detail that keeps people up at night wondering, was this loyalty, shock, or something darker? When Charlie went down, Mikey didn't rush to help. He didn't even check if Charlie was breathing. Instead, he casually lifted his phone to his ear and just walked away. Calm, cold, like nothing had happened. Witnesses say he didn't stay long enough to see if Charlie was okay, which already had people side-eyeing the whole situation. But then came the wild twist. Mikey's father, Pastor Rob McCoy, later claimed his son called him immediately and said, "Charlie got shot in the neck." That detail sounded rehearsed, too precise, too fast. And here's where it gets even more suspicious. Pastor Rob also claimed that Mikey had blood all over him.
I mean, I've received an unbelievable amount of emails from people that are convinced that Charlie's actually still alive, right? And it's not sad because those people are crazy. They're actually reacting to the lack of emotion and the lack of drive that is coming out of Turning Point USA to figure out who killed him. Yeah, that is how absurd they are acting. Just move on. Just donate to Turning Point USA. This is what Charlie would want. And that's his legacy.
But that's an outright lie, because anyone who's seen the footage knows that's not true. There wasn't a drop of blood on him. So why lie about something that can be easily disproven? What's the point of fabricating a visual like that unless there's something deeper they're trying to sell to the public? But wait, it gets messier. Erika's now telling a different story. She claims that she was the one on the phone with Mikey right after Charlie was shot. Hold up. So who's telling the truth here? Pastor Rob or Erika? Because both can't be right. And that kind of contradiction only adds more confusion to an already suspicious timeline. And if you thought it ended there, think again. Candace isn't just coming for Mikey and his dad anymore. She's expanding the scope. She's now calling out TPUSA's COO, Tyler Bauer, too. According to Candace, an insider reached out with claims that Tyler was getting way too close to male interns inside the organization. And that's not even the worst part. She also dropped a bombshell connection: Tyler's alleged involvement with an orphanage in Ukraine that she says gives her a very off feeling. And remember, Erika's already been tied to that questionable orphanage setup in Romania. So now we've got one person linked to a Romanian charity, another connected to a Ukrainian one, both wrapped up in weird secrecy and political influence. Something about this whole pattern just screams that there's way more going on than the public's being told. Now, here's where everything starts spiraling into absolute chaos. Because once Candace Owens started connecting all these dots, people online began doing their own digging, and what they've uncovered has everyone's jaw on the floor. It's like every new detail leads to another secret, another strange coincidence, another person who suddenly goes silent or changes their story. And at the center of it all, Erika Kirk and her tight circle inside TPUSA. People are now going through old clips, statements, and live streams frame by frame. And what they're finding is chilling. Remember that footage of Erika right after Charlie's death? She looked calm, collected, even oddly composed for someone who just lost her husband in such a public, brutal way. Now, of course, everyone grieves differently. That's true, but it's not just about emotions, it's about how everything she's said since keeps shifting. One day, she's saying she was on the phone with Mikey McCoy right after the shooting. Then later, she claims she didn't actually see what happened and found out through others on site.
It would not have been my advice for Erika in a stage of grieving to go from being the widow to being the CEO and the chairman of the company. If I was running the company, I would have said, let's put in place an interim CEO, right? Someone below, Justin Strife, I think, was the COO. I would have put in an interim CEO and allowed people to figure things.
These tiny inconsistencies are what make people raise eyebrows. Candace brought this up directly, saying, if your husband was just shot in front of the world and the man standing next to him doesn't even flinch, wouldn't you want answers? And honestly, that's the question echoing across every platform right now. Erika's silence isn't protecting her image, it's making her look more suspicious by the day. Then Candace went further. She questioned why USA hasn't released full surveillance footage of that night. According to insiders, multiple cameras were rolling, including drones and private media feeds set up for a content piece that was supposed to drop later that week. Yet somehow all we've seen are short clips from shaky cell phones, and every one of those clips cuts off right before or after key moments. Why? Who's editing this? Who's deciding what the public gets to see and what stays hidden? And that's when people started noticing something truly bizarre. TPUSA's PR team has been scrubbing entire pages from their website. Old blog posts, archived event links, even donation campaign pages connected to Charlie's last public appearances have disappeared, gone overnight. And conveniently, many of those deleted sections referenced either Erika, Mikey, or Tyler. You don't have to be a conspiracy theorist to see how that looks. Candace even hinted that someone from within the organization...
The defense wants to ban cameras in the courtroom. How do you feel about that?
There were cameras all over my husband when he was murdered. There have been cameras all over my friends and family mourning. There have been cameras all over me, analyzing my every move, analyzing my every smile, my every tear. We deserve to have cameras in there. Why not be transparent? There's nothing to hide. I know there's not, because I've seen what the case is built on. Let everyone see what true evil is. This is something that could impact a generation and generations to come.
Reached out to her anonymously, saying there was immense pressure to stick to the official story. The whistleblower allegedly told her that certain staff members were warned not to discuss the night of September 10th, even privately, or risk losing their jobs. That's when Candace dropped a line that hit hard. When people are told not to talk, that's when you know you're close to the truth. And honestly, she's right. Meanwhile, Erika's public behavior is only fueling the speculation. Just weeks after Charlie's funeral, she's seen smiling on stage, attending galas, and speaking about moving forward with purpose. To some, it's strength, but to many others, it's emotional detachment. And then there's that awkward video where she called Mikey McCoy an incredible example of courage and leadership. People couldn't believe she said that. The man who walked away while her husband was dying, and she's praising him? That clip alone reignited every rumor that she's protecting him for a reason. But Candace isn't just stopping at shady behavior, but she's digging into the money trail. She said, "Follow the funds and you'll find the truth." And now everyone's watching the donations pouring into both TPUSA and Erika's Romanian Angels charity. According to filings that Candace showed on her show, large sums have moved through both organizations within weeks of Charlie's passing. Some donations were labeled as international humanitarian efforts, but the destinations, unclear.
Analyzing my every smile, my every tear. We deserve to have cameras in there. Why not be transparent? There's nothing to hide. I know there's not, because I've seen what the case is built on. Let everyone see what true evil is. This is something that could impact a generation and generations to come.
The Romanian NGO reports don't match the American filings and vice versa. It's messy. And in the nonprofit world, messy often means intentional confusion. There's also talk about a private jet flight days before the tragedy, allegedly carrying Erika, Mikey, and 2 unnamed donors. The plane's tail number, which had been mentioned in Candace's receipts, connects back to a shell company based in Arizona. Guess what that company's listed purpose is? Media and event coordination. The same type of setup Charlie was known for, but he wasn't listed on the paperwork. So who was really running things behind the scenes? And that's when Candace dropped what might be her most explosive statement yet. She said she's in possession of text messages and internal emails that point to coordination before and after the shooting. Coordination, not coincidence. She said those messages mention preparation, sequence, and post-media strategy. Those are words you use in marketing, not in emergency response. That right there made the internet explode with theories. But here's what makes it even more dramatic. As Candace releases more information, the response from TPUSA insiders has become colder, more defensive, and borderline threatening. Instead of offering transparency, they're allegedly sending legal notices trying to intimidate her into silence. She even said she received a warning from a high-profile donor telling her to leave this alone. And Candace responded, "I don't take orders from people who fear the truth." Boom!
The entire issue and the energy right now is that people, irrespective of what's happening on paper, don't believe the story. They don't believe the story. And you are, and of course this is only a snippet of the interview, so I'm sure more will be said here, but I'm getting that you have seen the case, you think it's a solid case, she thinks it's a solid case at least, and is saying, show everybody what you have so they can see true evil. Within her capacity of chairman and CEO of Turning Point USA, they could be more transparent about what happened that day. People don't like the stuff that they've seen about Mikey McCoy. They don't like what they've seen about Rob McCoy.
Mic drop moment. At this point, even neutral commentators are starting to say this isn't just a gossip feud. This looks like an organized attempt to control a narrative. And Erika's at the center, whether she wants to be or not. Some fans think she's being manipulated, others think she's part of the cover-up. Either way, her refusal to speak openly only makes the storm louder. Candace then made a powerful emotional point. If this were my husband, I would tear the earth apart until I found out who did it and why. And that hit people hard, because that's what everyone expects from a grieving partner, and not branding deals, podcast launches, and vague faith-based speeches. Erika's version of moving forward just doesn't match the timeline of someone in mourning. To make things even more suspicious, rumors have surfaced that Erika has been in private meetings with select Turning Point donors, supposedly to restructure the organization and secure its new future. Insiders told Candace those meetings took place behind closed doors, without full board approval. So while the public still doesn't have full answers about Charlie's death, Erika's already shaping what TPUSA looks like moving forward. That's not mourning, that's maneuvering. As this all unfolds, people are demanding hard evidence, footage, documents, transparency, and if Candace's sources are correct, that evidence exists but is being kept under wraps.
They don't like the history of Rob and Mikey McCoy and their involvement here. They don't like the video of Terrell. They don't believe what time text messages were sent or when the phone calls took place. You know, Rob McCoy is lying. In the areas that you can control the transparency, I think doing that would be beneficial to Turning Point USA, because I don't think Turning Point USA is going to survive.
She's even suggested that she'll reveal more on her next show, saying, "I have the proof they never wanted to see daylight." So while Erika keeps smiling for cameras and Candace keeps pulling receipts, the question grows louder by the day. What really happened on September 10th, and who's protecting who? Because one thing's clear, too many stories don't match, too many people are staying silent, and too many lies are starting to crack wide open. Something big is coming, and when it does, it's going to shake the entire conservative world to its core. And now everything circles right back to one of the strangest and most suspicious threads in this entire story, the Orphanage connection. Because believe it or not, the same Tyler Bauer who's allegedly linked to a sketchy orphanage operation in Ukraine is also the very person who reportedly set up the first meeting between Charlie and Erika. That's right, the introduction that changed both of their lives forever might not have been random at all. People are now asking, was Tyler just being a friendly colleague, or was he placing Charlie in a situation that was already orchestrated behind the scenes? Could Tyler have been part of a setup meant to position Erika as a key player inside Turning Point, especially after Charlie's passing? Because when you start looking at the timeline of the introductions, the projects, the donations, and the charity ties, everything starts to overlap in ways that feel a little too convenient. And the craziest part?
And I'm watching, the minute Charlie was shot, he called me, says, "Dad, Charlie's been shot in the neck. Please call every pastor and pray." I said, "Okay, son." He has wits about him. He was just directing. He had blood all over him. And
both Erika and Tyler have ties to orphanage-related charities, hers in Romania, his allegedly in Ukraine. That's two different countries, both with similar aid projects, both tied to the same small circle of people inside TPUSA. It's like every time someone pulls one thread, three more come loose. And while none of this is proven, Candace made it clear that this level of coincidence deserves serious questioning. Now here's where things get even weirder. Texas delegate Trisha Hope stepped in and dropped some serious tea. She revealed that after she made a social media post questioning the strange circumstances around Charlie's death, Tyler Bauer personally reached out to her. Not a spokesperson, not a legal rep, Tyler himself. He told her he didn't appreciate her comments suggesting Charlie's death seemed suspicious, but why even care that much if there's nothing to hide, right? The man's the COO of a multi-million-dollar organization, and yet he's spending his time messaging a delegate about a Facebook comment? That's not normal behavior unless something hit a nerve. Trisha's response was direct. She told him that if Turning Point really wanted to clear things up, they should release an official statement with hard facts. She said, "Why not tell the public what's real? Was there an autopsy? Was the bullet recovered? Were there any forensic results at all? Those are simple, reasonable questions." But Tyler's response shocked her. He brushed it all off and said, "I can't chase all that made-up stuff." Made-up stuff? Since when are autopsy reports and ballistics evidence considered made up?
Also, another person who wrote us was telling me the story about Tyler Boyer's involvement in like Maricopa County politics in general. Like, what did he do before in Arizona? And yeah, it's just the kind of stories. Again, he said he approached him several times about embezzlement. You know, Tyler was hooking up with young interns, young male interns, or young male workers. And he didn't even care. He's like, I will go on record because all of this happened, and I had the proof that all of this happened, and everybody knows about Tyler Boyer at Turning Point USA. It's like an absurdity. But this is the person that is putting people into places of power at Turning Point USA.
That's the type of response that doesn't calm rumors. It feeds them. And Trisha made that point loud and clear, saying if everything was by the book, they'd have no problem showing proof. And honestly, she's right. Because to this day, nobody, not the media, not Turning Point, not even Erika, has given a straight answer about the most basic facts of that night. Was there an autopsy? Where's the report? What happened to the bullet? Even the wild claim about words engraved on the bullet vanished into thin air once people started questioning it. The FBI's early statement implied that there were visible markings on the bullet, almost like it carried a message. But when people pointed out that you physically can't fit that many words on such a tiny surface, that part of the story quietly disappeared. Candace hammered that point on her show, saying, when the story keeps changing, that's not confusion, that's deception. And that line has stuck with people because that's exactly what's happening. Too many changing details, too many contradictions, and not enough straight answers. What's even more suspicious is how Erika and Turning Point have reacted to all this. Instead of fighting for truth or justice, they're going after Candace Owens. Multiple sources close to her say she's now being hit with legal threats from Erika's circle and from Turning Point's legal team. There's even talk of them trying to push a gag order to keep her quiet. Imagine that, silencing the only person asking real questions about what happened to Charlie. But the smear campaign doesn't stop there. Recently, people online noticed a disturbing new narrative spreading, rumors claiming Candace is suffering from postpartum psychosis, trying to label her as unstable and obsessed. It's the oldest trick in the book. When you can't fight someone's evidence, you attack their character. They're trying to flip the script and make her look like the problem, when in reality, she's the one digging for justice. And Candace fired back. She said, if telling the truth makes me crazy, then call me insane, because I'm not backing down. That one line set social media on fire. Fans flooded her comments with support, saying they see through the manipulation and are standing with her until the truth comes out. Meanwhile, Erika keeps moving as if nothing's wrong. She's still showing up at public events, giving calm, rehearsed answers in interviews, and focusing on moving forward. But her complete lack of urgency has become one of the biggest red flags in this whole story. Candace even said, if my husband died like that, I'd tear the world apart until I found out who did it. And honestly, who wouldn't? People are also pointing out that Turning Point hasn't released any public memorial or investigative updates since those early days after the tragedy. No press conferences, no new statements, no timelines, just silence. And silence in situations like this isn't peace, it's control. Now let's not forget the power dynamics here. Tyler Bauer still holds an executive role. Mikey McCoy is still within Erika's circle. Erika herself is appearing more connected than ever to the organization's future. So when you look at who benefits from keeping quiet, it's not hard to see why transparency isn't their top priority. And maybe that's the most chilling part. The way this tragedy has turned into something corporate, something strategic. Charlie's name is being used for branding, for speeches, for legacy, but not for truth. Every person involved claims to honor his memory, yet none of them seem interested in finding out how his story really ended. That's why Candace's investigation matters so much. It's not just gossip, it's accountability. And every attempt to silence her only makes the public hungrier for answers. The hashtags keep trending, the clips keep circulating, and the internet refuses to forget. At this point, even people who weren't following politics are watching this story unfold like a live drama. They see the cover-ups, the contradictions, the missing files, and the eerie calm from everyone who should be screaming for justice. So ask yourself, who's really the crazy one here? The woman risking her career to expose what she believes is the truth? Or the powerful people using lawyers, PR teams, and smear tactics to bury questions that should have been answered months ago? Because one thing's clear, Candace isn't backing down. She's not afraid, she's not silent, and she's not done. And the more they try to shut her up, the louder this gets. So buckle up, because this story isn't over yet. The deeper this goes, the more it feels like a ticking time bomb waiting to blow the lid off everything we thought we knew about Turning Point, Erika Kirk, and Charlie's final days. If you've been following this wild ride, make sure to hit that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts, share this video so more people see what's really happening, and of course, subscribe for more updates, because trust me, the truth is coming, and when it finally drops, it's gonna shake everything. See you on the next one.